All right, it seems like we are live. Let me see if there's a way that I can not have the audio playing while we're streaming here. But welcome everybody. My name is Micah. I am part of the duo for Neuro Transmissions. I do a lot of the behind-the-scenes editing and other business like that for a lot of the videos that you see. So when you're watching a lot of the animations and the quick edits and all that stuff, that's kind of where I come into play. So what I decided to do here is just a quick little live stream. Well, maybe not quick, I don't know, it depends, where I show you sort of my process for editing, what I go through on a week-to-week basis, and also hopefully just kind of show you the nuts and bolts. I'm not gonna lie, editing can be very tedious and boring and that sort of thing, so if you're not interested in it, you know, don't punish yourself by watching. But if you're interested in seeing the process of how we sort of boil everything down into our typically about 5-minute episodes, then feel free to stick around. So with that said, I'm going to be checking the comments as you guys are watching. So if you have any comments as you go along, please feel free to leave them, and I'll try and get to them as quickly as possible. Let me see if I can post something just to say hey. And yeah, so I'll be checking that stream as we go on. So I'm not going to waste too much time, so let's get straight into what we're dealing with. So let's switch over. So when we're editing, I use Adobe Premiere and the Adobe Suite. It's the easiest tool to use, in my opinion. It really has everything that you need, and I really like that it's integrated with all of the different Adobe programs. So it's just something that's what I started out with editing, and it's what I'm most comfortable with, and in my opinion it's the best one out on the market right now. Other people might disagree. But let's get into kind of what we've got here. So you can see that we've done already a rough edit of the episode. It's clocking in right around 4 minutes and 30 seconds, and it should stay right around there, a little less than 5. We've still got to add in the intro, we've still got to add in the outro, and we've got some footage from the Star Wars movies, which is what this episode is going to be about, to add in. So, you know, with all of that stuff put in, it should be right around 5 minutes. We might even cut out some parts later on as we go through if we find that they're not very helpful for moving forward the episode. So let's see here. As you can see, since we've got the basic edit, we have Allie on this green screen. It's a nice face. And we still have this outline here. There's a light that we use. There's a little bit of shadow on this side from just Allie's, from the light kind of bouncing off of Allie, and so you get the shadow behind. But in general, the green screen is fairly well lit, which is good to see. You see that we have some creases in here, these wrinkles. Not something that we were going to spend the time to try and get out before starting. It shouldn't be too big of a deal because there's a few that are a little dark, but we're hoping to just edit all that out. So let's get straight into it. And you know what, before I keep going, I just want to make sure that everybody's aware that this is happening. So let me try and do a quick post out on social media. Give me 1 second. All right, and I hope that this is actually live. I didn't check to make sure first. Oh, maybe it isn't. Say the stream is okay, but is it happening? Live now. There it is. Okay. Copy. I swear this is not one who usually tries to do this all the time, but Allie's actually out and about right now, so I'm just here solo working on this. There's a lot of the boring stuff, so not that big of a deal. All right, let's get into it. So the big deal, the thing that'll be the most time consuming is taking out this green screen that we have in the background. In order to do that, we're going to bring it into After Effects. So let me transition you guys over there. I've got the first clip already in After Effects, and we're going to just start removing the green stuff and then masking around all of that other junk that we don't want in the image. So in order to do that, we're going to add Selective Color. What Selective Color is going to do is it's going to pump up those greens, make them a little more observable. Oops, wrong way. There we go. Without affecting Allie's color at all. Well, or very little. So since she's not particularly green, it'll only affect that part. We can even add another one on there to really get the effect going. Let's see what that does. Yeah, there you go. And since Allie is nicely removed from the background, we now have a nice green color. All right, now we're going to bring in our good old key light, which is the plugin that we use to select the green screen color. And we're going to change this to Screen Matte. So what Screen Matte does is it shows us what is still, what's being removed, which will be the black, and what remains, which will be the white. Now you'll see that there's some gray in here and gray over here. And that means that it's being partially removed, but not all the way. And so we want to really make that difference well defined. And in order to do that, we can mess with the gain. I like to start with the Screen Matte and move up the black slightly. I don't want to go over 15. Move down the whites, and let's zoom in there. Yeah, it looks decent. You can see that there's a little bit of gray here, but that's actually just from the motion blur, so Allie's hand or arm moving around, so that should be all right. And then the despill bias, I like to make it a little bit of green so that it looks more natural. Perfect. All right, let's see what the final result looks like. Not bad. She's fairly separated. You see a little bit of green. In order to remove that, we can roll back the clip slightly. About a pixel, maybe 2 pixels. All of our footage is recorded in 4K, which allows for a lot of freedom for doing this sort of thing. That's why a pixel or 2 pixels rolled back doesn't seem like all that much. And as you'll see later on, the 4K also allows us to zoom in and move stuff around without messing with the quality, with the resolution. So, okay, we've got a clean slate practically. We've just got this light, this wall, and this side looks okay actually. If I were to move the position, you can see that there's extension cord right over there. So there's a little bit outside the actual edge of the video that we might still cut out. All right, so let's keep it centered so that we can see that junk, so that we can mask appropriately. In order to mask, we're going to go up to the pen tool here and just very quickly go around all this stuff. All right. To make sure that this mask looks good, let's add a new solid. Let's make it red, because I think red's a pretty good color. And we'll put that underneath. We'll scale it up. Looking good. All right. We can mess around with her borders a little bit more to make it look more natural. It's not terrible right now. We might just want to smooth it slightly or something. or give it a little bit of contrast. However, she will be on a black background because she'll be in a Starscape. So I'm not too worried about that. So we're going to delete that red background. You know, let me just see if there's any sort of... No, I don't see anything. I'm trying to see if there's any sort of... change it to hard color. It doesn't really do all that much. Actually does a little bit. You can see. Look at her hand. So hard color, soft color. Hard color, soft color. I don't know. Let's stick with hard color for now. All right. So this is the mask that we're going to be applying to most of the other clips that we bring in, and we can use that as our, you know, general template. Okay, good to go. Next. And again, if you are just joining us, feel free to leave any comments, and I will try to respond them in a timely manner. I'm just going to be hanging out here and editing, hoping that having you guys watch me will actually make it move a little bit faster, and we can move right along. All right, let's just double check, make sure everything is going well. Uh-oh. All right, perfect. So now that you see that we've got the background removed, the green screen removed, let's add in the Starscape. So in order to do that, I'm gonna have to import an old file. Make the job a little bit easier for me. We're gonna go into old Neuro Transmissions. We're gonna find, it's from December, so that would have been Star Wars episode. Here it is. We did a video a year ago called the psychology or science of Jedi mind tricks, and that was our first somewhat popular video that we released, and that was almost exactly a year ago. So this is sort of, we're doing this not only because this Star Wars episode, not only because of the new video that's coming out, but also as sort of an homage or throwback to the video that we did back then. So if you'll recall, in that last video we had, and this is just going to sort of load up, so in the last video we had a Allie on the green screen with stars flying behind her. She had like a lightsaber and that sort of thing. She doesn't have a lightsaber starting off this video, but I did get some footage of her with the lightsaber in a different section, so we might add that in for fun. But we're just big Star Wars nerds, so we're happy to do this sort of thing for fun. You know, it's just a way for us to incorporate our interests into video making. Excuse me. All right. So now let's come back in. We've got the file activated and we're ready to go. Oh, we got a first comment. All right. The comment says, sorry if you already mentioned this, but what camera do you use for your filming? Thanks. I didn't mention what camera we use. So the camera that we use is the, I can show it to you. All right. The camera that we use is the Panasonic GH4. The reason that we got the GH4 as opposed to some of the other camera DSLRs that are out there is because it records 4K internally. You don't need an external monitor. You don't need all of these other accessories, I guess, in order to make that possible. And just in looking at the different, like when I was doing the comparison shopping, the GH4's like video quality seemed to be much better than some of the other cameras that were on the market, including like the, what is it, the Mach 3, the Canon Mach 3 or something like that. So that was part of the reason. We were looking to get a camera, like an actual stills camera anyhow, and the Panasonic GH4 just seemed to be the best option for both video and taking photography stills. So we decided to go for it, and it's been a really nice camera to use, actually. Luckily, I have a computer that can actually handle 4K video. So yeah, thanks for the question. All right. So we have this old file of pretty much the entire project. There's all of our video. We used to record a lot more video. And as you can see, the quality was not great either. She's quite dark in this. And so we've improved our lighting technique so that the background is lit well and she as the actor is more lit forward. Okay. That said, we're going to open up one of our, yeah, I like that, cool. So this was the background that we used for the end credits. That's perhaps a little bit too much, but I'm gonna grab it and bring it into here. And let's just see what that looks like. So you can see that it's much smaller because the last video was 720p and our new video is clocking in right around it's at 2K. So, oh boy, my computer might be a little bit slower than usual today just because it's trying to deal with all the different stuff that's going on. So as you can see, the stars seem to be a little bit too much. So we're going to delete that. What I did before was I used CC Particle World, really easy, really simple particle creator. There are other ones that are better. Particular is better, but for our purposes, it's not that big of a deal. So we're going to bring down the longevity. Ooh, that actually makes it worse. Let's bring up the longevity and down the birth rate, so fewer stars. And just for comparison, I'm going to look at the old stuff. Here we go. No, that's neuroanatomy. Look at one of the other comps. Okay, so here's what we originally had. Stars. Let's just copy this and we can increase from there. So I was a little, when we uploaded this last time, I was a little unhappy with the number. Oops. Yeah, actually no. Let's do that again. Could not read particle world settings, replace with defaults, okay. I was unhappy with the visibility of the stars. They just were not bright enough. So let's see if we can find some place to, probably under particle, to make them brighter. Because I like the number of them. Birth color, okay, and the death color can be a little bluer, but I just want it to be brighter. No. Now you're getting into sort of the fumbling around. This is the kind of stuff that you don't do that often, so it ends up being a little bit less interesting. You know? Velocity, gravity, resistance. No, we don't want to change any of that stuff. It really should be under, oh, opacity. Here we go. All right. So we're going to crank that opacity all the way up to 100. And let's get a very brief... What? We got our cat over here. So that's not bad. I would like it still to be a little brighter. Volume shade. Let's crank that up and see what that looks like. That doesn't do anything. Add. Yeah, that didn't do anything either. Alright, I'm going to mess with that a little bit more later on, I think. But for now, this is good. Yeah, so you can see that the opacity sort of goes up and then back down. But when it's at max opacity, I just want it to be brighter. I wonder if I could add glow to this. Ooh, yeah. All right. Might be a little bit too much, but glow intensity. Bring it. So without glow, with glow. It's still too much. It doesn't seem to change either when I do that, does it? Screen. Alright. Well, let's turn it off for now. I don't want it overwhelming. Okay. Next up, copy paste, right? We'll have to work with her colors because it doesn't quite match the background. The background's more bluish, she's more yellow. That's something that we'll correct later on though, once we get the color corrections down. Alright, so let me bring you back over. It's kind of a tedious process, but essentially you have to click each clip and replace it with After Effects composition. So that's going to open it up in After Effects with the same exact thing. Now we're going to run into a little bit of an issue, I think, because this clip might be different, slightly different. Between takes, we moved the camera slightly, which might make it difficult to copy paste the mask that we have. Exit out of this stuff. Let's try it. Let's take the mask, copy it, paste it. And that looks pretty good, actually. It copied right around where we need it. Oh, we got the cat here. Okay. And then we're just going to copy all of our effects, paste them in there, and it's like it never happened. Perfect. Okay, and then we'll just copy this, paste it, put it down below. Let's turn that on, turn on, so I'm turning on our motion blur, and we'll want this to have started already. Same thing for this guy. Okay. And it's the same thing. We'll bring in another one. You can't see me doing this because I'm just kind of flying ahead, but we're going to bring in another clip. And go back here. Copy the mask. Paste the mask. That seems to work. Copy the black solid, paste the black solid down below, and copy all of our settings. Boom. Next. Now this might come back and bite me a little bit later because by bringing all of these clips into After Effects right away, what that does is it slows down rendering later on. But I want to know what this looks like ahead of time. don't feel like waiting. So it is what it is. It is what it is. All right. So can't tell. This, okay. I'm gonna revisit that. I think this clip, the mask looks a little funky. Let's add a new solid there. And scale it up. Put it below. No, that's okay. Alright. Just my imagination. Next. I am so sorry if this is boring to you guys. This is the life of an editor. Just going through clip by clip. Eventually, once we get all of these imported, then we can move on to the more interesting sides of editing, which are repositioning her in the frame, and also just cutting things down, I guess, and making things as concise as possible. Okay, put that below. Next. When I'm clicking over, it looks like I'm clicking on this and nothing's happening. I'm actually switching over to Premiere and dropping these in. Let's check any questions. Oh, just talking about the cat. Yeah, that's Loki. We have two cats. He's one of the two that we have. Alright. Copy paste. Whoa, 3 masks. I should only have 1 mask. I'm not sure why it has 3, but it's okay. Now we're gonna have to double check. Oops. We're gonna double check this mask. So if you're just joining us, I'm going through clip by clip, removing the green screen, removing the junk on the outsides, and in general just sort of cleaning up the base layer. And then later on I'm going to go through and work on audio, work on positioning, and then just kind of play through and work with everything else as well. Oops, layer new solid. So this one was one of the other takes. So I'm just going to check that. And you can see, can you see that? It's really not going to be that big of a deal because we're on a black background, but oh, that right there. So this clip, which is, here I'll show you. It's on the top here, this top line of the comp, or sorry, of the project, is was shot at a different time. And so starting right here and going forward, this guy is going to have a different shot. And as such, what we get is we see that the lighting is slightly different. Not that big of a deal. All we have to do is mess with key light a little bit. Come in here and drop this down. Actually, it's going to be the whites. So we'll want to move up the whites, or sorry, the blacks. Ooh, look at that. Doesn't even do anything. We might even just cut around that. Well, let's see if we can mess with it. Yes, that doesn't do anything either. Let's mess with the gain. See, the gain helps, but what does it affect in the rest of the picture? That's the real question. Doesn't seem like too much. Alright, we're going to keep that. So we bumped up the gain to 108. Remember that. Okay. Let's get rid of this red background. There we go. That's better. And bring in the next clip. This one is also on that top layer. So we're going to use the same settings as that clip. The mask. Not sure why there's 3 masks on there. And the effects. Now you'll see the reason that it's showing up there is because this green screen has this yellowish tinge, so it's fooling it into thinking that it's not actually green. But there we go, it's all removed. And then we'll add back in the background. Boom. Next up. And as stated before, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask in the comments. Let me take a look, see if there's anything. We got somebody saying hi. Willem van de Beek. Hello. Nice to see you join us. Thanks for watching. If you are just joining, I'm going through this episode step by step and editing. So this is a Star Wars episode, which means that she's going to be on a green screen, and we're going to be masking out everything around her so that it's just her and the stars in the background. Alright, that's looking good. Next up, so normally I would already have this stuff done if I were on top of it. I would be beyond this point, hopefully have all of the green screen done, and at this point really be working on the graphics, so the text that comes in and all that good stuff. But unfortunately my computer was being difficult with me, so I built my own computer, and as a result it can be a little finicky sometimes. So what happened was I was trying to update my operating system, and I had to choose a new system definition in order to do that. But when I tried to choose a new system definition and I, applied it to the computer, it stopped working. So I spent like 2 days trying to get everything back to working order, and just finally yesterday got it done. So what you see right now is just the result of late last night working, and then today, up to this point. So it's going pretty fast, though, I think. All things considered, we're trucking along. Okay. Thanks for the comment. May the force be with you. Okay. Any other folks who are YouTubers out there? Anything that we should be checking out? Anybody that's worth, anybody that you think has really good editing? I'm kind of an editing junkie, so that's what I'm thinking about all the time. Or are there any questions that you have about the process so far? Anything that you're seeing that you don't understand? Please just feel free to ask away. So I can kind of just give a quick little behind the scenes stuff. So this is not my job. I actually work as a clinician, and editing is just sort of a passion for me. It's something that I love to do, and and then I get a lot of joy out of Allie, as you know, is a neuroscientist, and she's getting her PhD at the University of California, San Diego, which is where we're at right now. Let me show you. It's a beautiful day here. I don't know about you guys and where you're at, but here in sunny San Diego, clear blue skies. Doesn't get any better than that, right? So, but yeah, we started doing YouTube videos just because we, saw the need there. Oops, let's do this. It's showing like this weird background. Whatever. But yeah, so this is just something that we do in our spare time. So since Allie's a full-time student, working full-time, we just kind of take care of this whenever we have a moment. And so typically the routine looks like I get home from work, Allie makes dinner, we eat, and then get to work either writing, filming, or editing in this case. And then weekends, usually at least one day will be dedicated to working on the video. So whenever you watch one of the videos that we do, I'd say a decent, 15 hours, 20 hours goes into each video. And we do that, because we want to have good quality videos for you guys. It's really important to us. Oops. There it is. Alrighty. Are you bored yet? We're getting there. It's a slow and steady process, but I swear we will get through this. Stay with me. We are getting there. Let's see if there's any more questions. All right. Nettle Soup says, how much time could you save in editing if you worked to remove the ripples in the green fabric before coming? Ooh, that's a really good, before filming. It's a really good question. So these little ripples here, these, whatever you call them, wrinkles, could save some time. Actually, I don't think it would save any significant amount of time. The advantage of having a very smooth background is that then when you drop in your effect, or your key light, you don't have to use as much of the functions that it has. So we wouldn't have to pump up the clip black or clip white or the gain as much as we have, which just makes for a cleaner slate. So the green screen ends up looking better. But time-wise, it actually doesn't save a significant amount of time. You'd probably spend more time actually getting the wrinkles out than in post-processing. So not a huge time waster, luckily, because that would be a big pain to sort of mess with. It's this giant green screen. It's huge. It covers aren't okay. Here, I'll kind of show you. So let me switch the view. All right, that entire wall is covered, and then the floor. So it's just this, monolith. Not monolith, but this giant thing. It's sort of unruly and hard to manage, but it is what it is, and it works. So that's what we care about. All right. That one's done. Bring in the next one. Oh, there were other comments here. Apple lets you build computers. What custom build computer and OS do you have? Oh, good question. So Apple doesn't really let you build, well, there is a very strong community for custom Macs or Hackintoshes, whatever you want to call them. Folks who essentially use the principles from building PCs and apply them to Macs. So for me, I really like the Mac operating system and everything that it comes with, all that stuff. And so it was important to me to have that. And I'm not gonna lie, it's a big pain sometimes because you have to troubleshoot quite a bit because it is not native. So unlike a PC where you can put a whole bunch of parts together, put on the operating system, and just kind of let it run, with Macs you really have to make sure that there's support for the software or for the hardware that you're using, and then when there are issues, there's nobody official that you can go to solve the issue. So you end up relying a lot on other people's advice and that sort of thing. But for me, it's worth it to have the power and save the money, and in general, just to also just feel more involved with my computer and have something that I can upgrade as time goes on. So right now, I work on Yosemite. That's the operating system. I have yet to upgrade to Sierra, and but my computer's nicely powered. Has Intel i7 4770K processor, 32 gigabytes worth of RAM, 250 gig solid state drive, and 1 terabyte drive and a 3 terabyte drive. And what else? And a graphics card. I have a 760 GeForce graphics card. So in general, really nice computer, and it's something that I can upgrade as time goes on, as long as my motherboard stays relevant, I guess. And I guess I could always replace the motherboard, but at that point, kind of a pain, right? All right. Next up, oh, I forgot to put in the mask. Okay, moving right along. And if you're watching this right now, I don't know if we're going to keep up this video long term. We might put it on the Facebook page or something, but in terms of having it as an official video on the channel, you know, it doesn't really fit. So you're lucky to see this on YouTube. All right, let's keep moving along. Any other questions that you guys have out there? Anything that you want to know about? How many of you are editors? That's actually my question for you guys, is what's your experience with editing? Do you like editing? Yeah. What's your impression? Let's see. Replace. Okay. And eventually we will actually get to the audio section. Right now it's just sort of, well, there's nothing to listen to because we're just applying all of these different elements. And usually during this time I play a little music. Would you guys mind if I do that? Just to sort of break up the monotony. And if it sounds crappy, you can let me know. I can switch it up. I'm going to turn on something a little relaxing, maybe a little Sufjan Stevens. Is Apple, or rather is YouTube, going to take down my video if I do that? Maybe I shouldn't do that. We'll skip it for now. Things you got to consider with the live streaming, right? Okay. Willem says he has no editing skills whatsoever. Well, what is the limiting factor for you? What is it that keeps you from getting into editing? Because there's a low bar, I would say, in terms of most computers come equipped with some sort of editing software. Even if it's, on Mac, it's iMovie, or if it is Windows PC, then you've got Windows Movie Maker. I think they still come with Windows Movie Maker. I hope they do. That's what I started off with, was Windows Movie Maker back in the day. making stupid little sing-along music video things. But then moved into iMovie and then jumped up rather into Premiere. And Premiere was really like at first just whoa, it was so complicated compared to everything else. But once you, I mean, it's not even that complicated, but once you get up the learning curve, it's fairly straightforward, I would say. But what is it that is your limiting factor? What is it that keeps you from doing any editing? And do you even want to do editing? Because maybe that's something that doesn't even interest you. And I know that I'm on a delay, so forgive me if I am answering things late. All right. Next. Make this a little bit bigger. This window. Let's expand it. There. Now you can see the picture a little bit better. Okay. Oh. I just applied the same effects to the same clip. There we go. If you want a starting place, if you are interested in editing, or specifically if you're interested in After Effects, because After Effects is just a fun toy to play with. You can do so much. Some of the the cool stuff, the fun special effects and whatnot, and that really is what grabbed me and got me into editing in the first place and using this sort of software. If you're looking for a place to start, the way that I did it was I actually started with videocopilot.net, which is well, they do have a YouTube channel, but it was a website that was hosted by Andrew Kramer, who was just a random, at the time he was a random dude on the internet, who was doing tutorials on certain special effects. So each video had a particular effect that you would work on, and just watching him work and then copying was how I learned a lot of the basics of just this sort of stuff, how to use key light and figuring out what looks good. And he has gone on now to work on a lot of really big projects. He did like Star Trek. I think he was involved in Star Wars as well. Just like really doing a lot of really cool stuff, which means that his channel, or rather his website, is suffering now. He doesn't really do all that much on it anymore, which is too bad because I want him to keep teaching me more things. But now he's sort of made it in the industry, and he also does some of his own software. He created things like Element 3D, which allows you to do 3D rendering inside of After Effects, and he does like, I don't know, just a whole bunch of stuff. But anyway, really cool guy, really funny, very dry sense of humor, but that's how I started my learning process. Okay. So Willem, I see your comment there. I think that is so important to have an appreciation for film in the first place. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a valuable skill. I think that editing is really just taking it one step further and observing film from a more technical standpoint. So you like what you like, but then in editing it becomes how do you create something that you like? So you'll probably find yourself attracted to the same sorts of shots, the same storylines, whatever it might be. And so the question becomes, well, what is it about that specifically that speaks to you? Because what I've really found in terms of doing editing is that the script can be as good as possible. It can be an excellent script, but it can really fall flat if the editing is not good. It's kind of the difference between, not the difference, but that's what differentiates film from theater, right? Because theater is a live performance of a script, and you can have bad actors and you can have bad props or whatever it is, and that can all affect the theater. And with film, it just adds that extra element of editing. How do different shots express emotions or add to excitement or incorporate emotions. So I don't know. These are the things that I think about. If you want some YouTube channels to check out that go into detail about that sort of thing, there are two that I really like watching. The first one is called Every Frame's a Painting, and they're just like guys like you and me probably, but who spend the time to go into detail on different shots and how you should frame things and blah blah blah. And the other one is Now You See It, and that one is more of an evaluation of actual films or directors and the decisions that they make. Both great YouTubers, both great stuff. Oh, you actually mentioned it. Look at that. That's so funny. Look at that. You just mentioned it. That's really hilarious. Yeah, I totally agree. If you can shave a second, so you said if you can shave a second off every scene, you can get a totally different movie. And that's very true. I mean, with our videos, it's not a movie, but you can tell with the editing style that we cut very quick cuts for the most part, unless there's a stream of thought that we're trying to carry out. So that means that we're cutting out breathing for the most part, and it should jump from one thing to another so you get fast, easy information that you can absorb and just get straight to the point. There's no dilly-dallying, and we try to cut unnecessary information, I guess. We still try to make it fun, and interesting, but it's very true that you can change a lot based on your cutting. Let's see, whereas you have a format like this where it's live stream and you're just watching me, and yeah, I might be editing, but there's a lot of pauses and difficulty with speech and all that stuff. Ums and whats and all that good stuff. Alright. It's so funny that you mentioned that YouTube channel. Okay. Let's see, next. I'm getting distracted. That's another issue with editing, is that sometimes when you're sitting at a computer for so long, you forget what you're doing and you end up doing something else, like, I don't know, playing a video game instead of doing the work that you're supposed to do, checking Facebook. Okay, I swear, we're almost done. So I have the option, let me show you here. If I wanted to, I could just copy all of these clips and open them with After Effects. The issue with that is then, instead of having all of these separated out, I'll have one long clip, and I won't be able to see where the separations are. That causes issues for multiple reasons, but primarily if I decide that I want to cut something later on, then it becomes an issue here. Or if I want to mess with the audio, then it's not going to change the video up here. So I'm not going to do that. We're just going to leave it as it is because we will thank ourselves later on. Okay, let's keep moving. Let's keep rolling. Good stuff. So out of curiosity, since we have, I mean, you just dropped in here to watch me edit, which is really nice of you guys to be here watching. But I'm curious about your opinions about neurotransmissions. What do you like? What do you not like? Are there topics in particular that you're really interested in seeing come up? Yeah, I just want to hear from you guys because part of the reason why we make these is to make them for you, and I'd love to hear your feedback on that. Personally, I know that we make these because it's something fun. I think we'd make it even if we had little to no following and nobody watching. I think we'd still make this kind of stuff just because it's important to us. And part of the reason why we made these videos in the first place is just because there was hardly nothing. There was like nothing on YouTube about neuroscience. Pretty crazy. Except for they had like lectures. We did some YouTube searching before we ended up starting this, and you could find hour-long lectures from professors in Harvard or something like that, which is interesting. That's valid and it's something that is helpful for people, but it's not really engaging, and it didn't really fit a lot of other content that's out there, a lot of other educational content even that's on YouTube. So that's part of the reason why we did this. And eventually, actually, probably with the new year, you might even see my face on the channel because I am thinking about doing a psychology segment, which would be kind of fun. Just go into different psychological phenomena, things that maybe we have a lot of psychological research done on it. For example, like I don't know, cognitive dissonance. We have a lot of psychological research on cognitive dissonance, but we may not have a lot of good neuroscience research on cognitive dissonance. Well, that would be where talking about psychology would be a really good segment to fill in the gaps between what we know about brain chemistry versus what we just know about humanity and how humans interact with each other. So, no final word on that, but that is something that could happen. Alrighty. Let's see. Let's take a look at comments here. We're doing good. We're going strong. Willem, you've been with us this whole time. Thanks for being such a good supporter. If anybody else is out there, say hi. I'm interested to see who else is watching. Okay. Moving right along. We're near the end. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 left to put this effect on. So let's just finish this up. And then we can go on to the next item. We're how many minutes in? 33 minutes in. Not bad to get all of these effects done in half an hour, a little over half an hour. And then we can get into some more interesting things. Things that will probably take a little bit more time, but that payoff will be much more dramatic. Okay. Good stuff, good stuff. Next. All right. We're so close. We're so close to getting done with this. Okay. Good stuff. All right, Willem, you're saying you're interested in identity, how identity can change with, for example, Alzheimer's. Also, Westworld has you thinking about identity. So I haven't watched Westworld yet. That's one of the TV shows that I really want to watch. We just finished watching The Crown, which was great, but Westworld is one of those that I'm interested to look at for similar reasons, because, okay. I know the outline of Westworld, which is, it's essentially like a theme park, virtual, not even virtual, but a theme park that people can visit that's inhabited by robots, and Westworld is sort of this back to Wild West place where rich people can live out their fantasies and blah, 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 blah. So, but I think what the really interesting part of the TV show potentially is, when do robots become conscious? I want to say like human, but human isn't the right term, but yeah, conscious enough that they would have the same rights as humans. It's not even necessarily about rights, but just where do you draw the line between consciousness and not. I mean, if you want to look at humans, we're all a combination. We're all comprised of a series of chemicals, right, in the brain. So based on how those chemicals change or react, that changes our actions. And so you could make the same argument for circuits and wires and electrical impulses. The brain has electrical components to it as well. So yeah, that's interesting. That'd be a fun examination. Oh, and you found us via Draw Curiosity. That's great. We love Inés. She's an awesome person. It was so fun working with her. And she has been skyrocketing. I don't know. We first met her when she had like 400 subs. Now she's up to like 13,000 or 14,000 now. It's crazy. So, I mean, she deserves it. She has been doing some awesome work. So, way to go, Inés. All right, let's see here. I'm getting distracted. I'm not getting to the interesting stuff yet. Almost done. Now you'll see that every time that I paste in the stars, they start at the same place. I'm probably gonna end up switching that up if it's noticeable. I don't, I'll have to take a look. I think that's what I did for the last video. I ended up like moving the stars around each shot so that it didn't look like it was the same thing over and over and over again. Okay. Almost. Second to last shot. Okay. And, I wonder if there's like a script that I could write so that it does this automatically for me. Probably not, because you have to like select it from here. That would be pretty sweet. Last shot. Okay. The exit. Put that in. We're gonna mask that out. So you can see that once you have your system down, as long as it looks good, you just kind of copy and paste and move through that. All right. Whew. So we finished all of the initial placement of the effects. So we've put in the star background, and we've also removed the green screen and all of that junk that was on the outer edge. Now what we have to do is make our jump cuts make sense. And in order to do that, we'll have to reposition and reframe Allie inside of the screen. Before I do that, I want to go through the script and find moments where we're going to be using text, because that will help position her inside of the frame. And she'll need to be on particular sides for certain things. So that's what I'm going to do next, is actually go into Premiere, and in order to not have delays in the video, I'm just going to turn it off and just sort of listen through. And I'm also going to open up my script. Give me 1 second. Oh, we got more about Westworld. So the robots become conscious and humans are actually losing their humanity. Ooh, what a setup. Yeah, I definitely want to watch that. We just started watching Star Trek Deep Space Nine. So far, so we just watched the first episode. You know, it's so different. So we finished all of The Next Generation. Great series, excellent. Love Captain Picard and the whole crew. And it's hard, I think. It's just getting used to a new main character and a new team. So it'll take some getting used to, but we're going to stick with it for a little bit. Okay. Editing. There it is. Nope, that's not it. In progress. Here it is. So, as a sneak preview, since you guys are watching this as we go through the edits, this video is going to be about one of the characters in the new movie, in Rogue One. Now, we haven't seen it, just like the rest of the world, but just by the previews and some of the promotional material and stuff like that, we got to know about this blind character, Chirrut Imwe, and so we're exploring that, I guess, in the video. So with that primer, let's go into the actual video. So you won't see any of the...
I don't know about you, but over here at Neuro Transmissions, we're pretty excited for the Star Wars story. Rogue One is the first standalone.
So we'll have some overlay there from the trailers.
And as a neuroscientist, one character in particular is Chirrut Imwe, played by the legendary Donnie Yen, is a member of the ragtag bunch of rebels who set out to steal the plans to the Death Star.
Okay, so Comp 4, let's go into that. Comp 4, so she says, Chirrut Imwe, played by the legendary Donnie Yen, blah, blah, blah. So we're going to move her over. We're going to scale her up. Move her back down. And let's add the title and action safe so that we can see what we're doing. So we need two pictures, one of Chirrut and one of Donnie Yen. Let's see if we can find some. Blah, 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 blah. And usually when I'm searching for images, I try to use Creative Commons. We got a shirtless Donnie Yen. I don't know if that's what we want. That one's not bad. That one's not bad. You guys can't see what I'm looking at. That was not bad. Let's use that one. Okay. So we're gonna save this into our video, or rather into the folder, and Chirut Imwe. I hope I'm spelling that right. Chirut. Alright. So I'm not finding any Creative Commons images for Chirut Imwe, which makes sense because it's fairly new. It's a name that is probably trademarked or copyrighted by Star Wars, by Disney. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to find one that is not Creative Commons, and we'll just have to make sure that we do a good job of giving credit in the actual video, because one of the risks that you run into is using images without giving appropriate attribution. And for our purposes, it'll be fair use because it's for educational purposes. But that's something that you have to avoid because, you know, if you're not using it for those purposes, or for like news, or for parody, or for several other reasons, you'll get knocked on that. Okay. We're done with that. So let's bring those files in. You guys are watching? Yeah, cool. We'll bring those files in. Chirut. 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 Where is he? There they are. Alright. Chirut Imwe, played by the legendary Donnie Yen. So we'll start with Chirut. That's a very large picture, so we'll scale that down. And that's a good size. So we're gonna scale it up a little bit more. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, so people can get a nice picture of him. So he's gonna come in from the other side of the screen, from the right-hand side, and fly in. In order to make that animation easy for us, I have a, what do you call it, a plugin that makes the animation, the actual flying, look nice. I could do it by hand using the graph editor if I came in here and turned on easy ease and blah blah blah, but it's much easier to just use the plugin that we have, and so you'll see that it very nicely moves in. Oh, come on, you got it. Usually it's much faster than this. So he kind of comes in and then he moves back a little bit. Right? So let's see that in fast motion. Boom. Boom. Cool. Now the issue is that there's no motion blur, so you can see it's very clear the whole way through. So we're going to turn on motion blur and motion blur. Very nice. So that way you don't really see how clear it is until it finishes. And it looks like it's actually traveling in real time. And let's just make sure that it lines up with the audio as well. Chirut Imwe. Chirut Imwe. Chirut Imwe. So we'll probably want to move it in a little bit more so that it comes on faster. So she says, Chirut Imwe, played by the legendary Donnie Yen. So we'll throw Donnie Yen on there. And we'll scale him down. He looks a little funny. We'll probably mask this. And like that. And we'll probably move this over so that that guy's face isn't, kind of draws attention away. Okay. And we'll position him over. Now, we're running into an issue where this picture is too big. So we're going to scale it down. We want it to be the exact same height as the other image. And that about matches, right? Yeah, actually, very nicely. But he's taking up the same space, and we kind of want them side by side. So when he flies in, he's going to fly into about there. He's going to bump over that other guy. Oops. Do that. Do that. Move this to the beginning. And he'll be off screen. And then he'll fly on. And that'll look. Whee! There's the first picture. And where's the second one? Where's the second one? Oh, I moved both of them. Whoops. I just wanted to move this one. Okay. Now we keyframe them. Okay. 1, 2. And this guy also needs motion blur. 1, 2. Played, so I'm just watching Allie's mouth here. Played by the... I'm going to turn off the stars for a sec. Legendary... Okay, so he's right about here. That's when we'll want him to start flying on. Boom. Now, what that means for the other picture is that it has to move to make space. So, we're going to have it also move. And once that guy's there, this guy is going to move over. Boom. And we'll keep them somewhat covered up so that they're about the same size. It's kind of a goofy picture, isn't it? Anyway. So then, with everything combined, let's see how that looks. See, the bottom one, the first picture moves a little early. I'm going to have it move. Yeah. That's nicer looking. So it'll sort of resolve a little bit later than the other one, but let's see what that looks like. Yeah. So it's like it's pushing it over. That's good. So, the script says, Chiru Imwe, played by the legendary Donnie Yen, is a member of a ragtag bunch of rebels who set out to steal the plans to the Death Star. So, we're going to kind of include, I kind of want the focus to stay on him. I'm going to move Allie over slightly. There we go. Give a nice space for that. I'm going to turn a light here too. Okay. We're doing good. So far, so good. Ragtag, bunch of rebels. I'm just going to turn off all of the other stuff for a moment. ragtag bunch of rebels who steal plans to the Death Star.
The Death Star.
I might add something in the background later on, like have these images go away so they come on. Ragtag bunch of rebels. Actually, his is a little bit larger still, so I'm glad that I saw that. Sorry, this little thing is gonna bother me unless I fix it. There we go. And let's do a little bit. There, that's better. Okay. Ragtag bunch of rebels, so it's blah blah blah, the Death Star. It would be kind of funny. I think I might do this. I'm going to turn off this, move it back up, position, boom, boom. I'm going to move over, back off screen. So she says Death Star right there. So I'm gonna have these guys move right when she's saying that. And behind the picture, I'm gonna put a Death Star. All right, let's do that. So I'm gonna search for a Death Star picture. Let's try and do Creative Commons again. Since this is older, there's a better chance. I'm not seeing anything great yet. I also have a green screen video of a Death Star, so that might work too. Let's see if I can find it. This? No. Where is it? Maybe I didn't import it. Well, anyway. Oh, you know what? It's over here. This guy right here. We're just messing around, just doing a bunch of random stuff. And so we had like this. We have this Death Star toy. So we like brought it up. It's so huge. I don't know if that would actually work because it's not entirely in frame. Anyway, all right. Enough playing around. Let's bring it back. Okay. Anybody still out there? Anything in particular that you want to see as we're going through this? I'm just going to keep editing away. I'm going to make a note for myself on the script that we use to add that later on. Add Death Star in background. All right. So let's turn this all on. We're gonna skip it for now. All of the various changes that we're gonna make. I'll just keep that on. Okay. Moving right along. The promo has been described as warrior monk, emerges of force, doesn't let blindness prevent him from kicking butt. Okay, that's going to be overlaid with clips of him from the video. Okay, believe it or not, we've seen characters in Star Wars use the force to overcome blindness before. Remember that scene where Luke puts down the blast shield? And that section we're going to put in a shot with Luke from the original video. From A New Hope, where he has the blast shield down and he's failing hard, and then he finally learns how to use it. There's an important difference. Blah blah blah. Troop isn't force sensitive. Doesn't want to conquer blindness. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so the next part that I want to start putting in some text. It says scientists used to be pretty sure that when you were born your brain was hardwired. That was it. Nothing would change. So we're gonna find that clip. Okay, it's right here. That's comp 10, so we're going to go into comp 10. Alright, so we're going to put her to the other side here, just for changing it up. And since we've masked out all this stuff, this can remain, and she can move around freely, which is nice. And I don't know why this isn't staying on there. Let's try that again. Blah, blah, blah. Scientists used to be pretty sure that... What did she say? Pretty sure that when you were born, your brain was hardwired. So we're going to put in hardwired. Hardwired has it. Scale it down, move it over. Now, this is the font that we normally use, but since it's Star Wars, we're going to switch it up. I think it's under J. Nope. What the heck? What was this under? Let's look up. Well, there's Star Jedi. There it is. Nice. Look at that. We're gonna use the same yellow too. Let's find the yellow. Star Wars colors. No. Star Wars. Star Wars. Star Wars. Okay. And we're not going to actually use this in the video, but just so that we can have a reference for color. We're going to drag this on top. And that's the yellow that we want. So we're going to click on hardwired. Do this, click the yellow that we want, and bada bing, bada boom, we're done. And there you go, hardwired with the proper yellow. We're going to scale it down a little bit more, move it over, and that's centered. I'll move it over here. Okay. So she says, your brain was hardwired. That was it. Nothing would change. So we're going to do some text for each one of those just for fun. But before we do that, now we'll do that first. Duplicate. We're gonna, that was it. Duplicate that. Nothing would change. Do I want change? We'll make nothing large would change. Okay. Now, I'm going to go down here, near the bottom, and hardwired is going to go up here. We're going to select all of them and click this little button here. Oops, that didn't work. It usually works. Let's try this again. Oh, that's why. Here, let's try this. And there we go. That's a little too far out. Move this down. And we'll move this up. And let's do that again. There. Now it's perfectly centered. Now this nothing should be larger. Change the wrong thing. Nothing, and then would change should be smaller. Sometimes I even make it the same size, just to kind of make it look nice, make it easier to read, like that. And now we'll want to do that again. We're distributing them evenly. But I'm actually going to have those three move over. No, that's fine. So what I'm going to do is put these layers underneath, so you can see that the nothing would change is actually underneath Allie's layer. Gives a little bit of dimension, makes it look interesting. I don't know. Maybe she waves her hands around. So actually, yeah, look at that. Her hand's coming out a little bit. I love that stuff. All right. And these are all going to have the same effect, the same zoom, or rather the same motion, animation. So we're just going to do that right off the bat, and then retime them. What time is it? 4:19. We've almost been going for an hour, I believe. Willem, thanks for watching with us. I see that you're off. It is a pleasure having you along for the ride. We've been going for 53 minutes, not even an hour yet, not even an hour in, and look at how much work we've done. But we're just going to keep moving forward. So we're going to use this little effect, and you'll now see that these will all fly in the same way. Yay. Now that would be nice if I wanted them all to come in at the same time. Boom. Boom. I'm actually going to move them up slightly too. So once they get over here, we're going to move up. Now we'll move them in. And we'll move Allie in as well. Get her off that edge. Like that. Perfect. Scientists used to be pretty sure. You know what I'm going to do? Just real quick. Just to line this up, I'm going to turn these off. Pretty sure that your brain was hardwired. So there she says hardwired. Hardwired. So that's when this is going to come in. Oops, wrong one. That's when this one's going to come in. Hard. That's nice. Let's turn on motion blur for these guys. Wired. That. So she says that. Right there, that's where that was it. Is going to come in. And the reason we're bringing it in so early is because she's talking pretty quick. Nah. Right there, nothing. And we'll bring this in there. Boom. So, got hardwired. That was it. Nothing would change. Perfect. And we'll bring her back in. We'll remove that background. Boom. And we've got our finished clip for that one at least. Okay. Next. That was it. Nothing would change after neurons, right? This is mostly true, but it turns out even though we aren't growing neurons, the brains are plastic. Okay. Our brains are plastic. Let's see what we can find for a visual demonstration of plastic. I mean, plastic is not the same as other plastic. But let's see what we got. Plastic. Yeah, not liking any of this. I'm looking at different images that we could potentially use to demonstrate plastic, but we might just use the word. Alright. Okay. Sorry, I'm getting a little distracted here. So, we'll want to go to that part of the video. I'm going to put it in this one. So she says, our brains are plastic. And then it cuts to a new comp. Comp 13. So comp 13, she's sort of describing what plasticity is. Now, the real question is, for the definition, do I put plastic or do I put plasticity? Because she says our brains are plastic. Plastic definition. Synthetic material. No, we don't want that. Easily shaped or molded. That's kind of the idea. In science or technology. Of or relating to a permanent deformation of a solid without fracture by a temporary application of force. Meh. It's not really what we're looking for either. But if I put in plasticity, the quality of being easily shaped or molded, the adaptability of an organism to change in its environment or differences between its various habitats. That's a little bit more correct. Let's see. I'm going to put plasticity, even though it doesn't line up with what she just said, but I don't know, plastic just seems wrong. I'm going to scale it down. Whoa, too small. I'm going to move it over. Plasticity. Let's see what we're dealing with. Okay, put it on the edge there. We'll even make it a little definition. We'll duplicate and move it over, because this is where we're going to put the definition. Plasticity. Let's see if we can find a good definition. The capacity for continuous alterations of the neural pathways and synapses of a living brain and nervous system in response to experiences or injury. Ugh, what a horrible mouthful of a definition. Let's change that. I mean, we still want it to be the actual definition, but we want it to be a little quicker, a little easier to read. So we're going to say the ability of neurons to it's like neurons and synapses. I'm going to say synapses because that's kind of really what's changing. Change in response to something. We don't even necessarily need it to be in response to something. The ability of synapses to change. That's plasticity more or less. We'll scale it down a bit. Ooh. That's they're a little fat, don't you think? So we're gonna make, oops, I don't want that. I want the actual size of it to be taller. Yeah. Or just remove the space between the letters. And then we'll move it over. I always like to have the definition be a little smaller than the actual definition, or sorry, than the word. And this should be that big. It should be over more. We'll make this that. Still too large. That's a little bit better. Move this over. Move this over. And move it down. There. That's what that looks like. Let's remove this. Okay. It's a little hard to read. Not plasticity, but the other definition. I could add a thicker outline to it, which wouldn't be the worst actually, because that would sort of match with the aesthetic. But I kind of want to make it even easier. And oops. I think in order to do that, 69, make this also a little bit thicker as well. I'm gonna add something right around here. Shape. We're gonna give it some fill. Black. Doesn't need stroke. We'll make it large. Scale it up and move it up. And then we're gonna pre-compose it. Actually, let's just expand a little bit. Like that, yeah. And then pre-compose. Move all attributes. We're gonna bring it down. We're gonna put it underneath that, so that's easier to read. Oops. And it still fits the aesthetic, but we're gonna taper that end so that's nice to look at as well. The way that we do that is we cut it off and then we feather. So inside this mask, I'm gonna feather the edge like that. And now, see, you got that soft edge. I like that. All right. Final step for all this is messing with the position. We're gonna take the position down for all of them. And we'll apply this plugin. And now they'll all come up at the same time, which is not what we want. But it's a starting place. There's that. Again, we'll want motion blur. And we'll want them coming at various times. The shape we'll want coming first for sure. And then this, and then this. So what does that look like? It's not terrible. Yeah, that's not bad. And then it's just got to go back down. So we'll come here, we'll do the same thing. We're messing with the position. Move them back down. Boom. But again, we'll want them moving at different times. So this, move these keyframes over 2 and 4. It's a little slow. We'll just separate them by 1. There. Okay. Oh, we're getting there. We're doing it. Let's check the comments. No comments. Feel free to leave a comment here if you're joining us. That way any future people can see that. All right. Check social media quickly. All right, cool stuff. Up next, let's go to the next effect. And let's see, let's go back to so your brain can rewire itself as it ages, adapting to changes and keeping things as functional as possible. So I'm actually going to change that definition. Let's go back. The ability of synapses to change. I'm going to actually change to rewire. I sort of like that terminology better. Even though blah, 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 because, you know, we like to think about our brain as like circuitry. So this is adapting to changes and keeping things as functional as possible. Rewire itself. To rewire, if it were being grammatically correct, we put themselves at the end here. Well, let's do it. We're going to do this. To rewire themselves. Oh, that looks horrible. All right, well, let's fix it. I'm going to space it out. And we're going to move it up. Like that. Just space it out a little bit more. See, this is kind of a pain. The reason that it's a pain is because YouTube has a lot of space used up at the bottom. So we got to be a little bit careful not to put too much text. It's hard to see down there. Let's position this up higher so that we can give ourselves more wiggle room. Like that. Perfect. And no, we don't need both of those, just this guy. And we'll probably also want to do that. Ugh, it pains me to do that. Okay. So put it in the midway mark, and that way we can bring plasticity more centered, more central. And we might even be able to increase the, yeah, we definitely can increase the size of it. That kind of looks nice, actually. I don't mind that. I was hating it at first, and now I don't mind so much. Good stuff. All right, the ability of synapses to rewire themselves. Is this readable? Does this look decent? If so, let's move on. Ability of synapses to rewire themselves. Let's take a look without everything. Yeah, that doesn't look bad. Okay. Now we got to go back and fix this again because it's broken. Take all these. You know what? I'm going to undo that. Take all these, extend them. Take all these. Do this again. Go like that again. Do that again. Oops. Boom. Oops, maybe we don't want that. Now, hang on. Why can't I see? What? What is happening there? I'm a little confused because I should be able to see the... Oh, it's because this guy's there. Now I can see both of them. Okay. We're just gonna remove these. We'll just redo it. It's not that big of a deal. Position. Position down. And then apply. Over one and over two. Boom. Now we've got plasticity and it moves. We'll have to double check and make sure that it's on there long enough for people to read. You know what? I'll just move it back. Give them a few seconds. And that looks good. Okay, moving right along. Sorry, I'm just looking at the YouTube comments. Nobody commenting yet. If you're there, if you have any questions, if you want to put in your 2 cents or anything like that, please feel free to do so. I'm just going to be hanging out here and editing away on this video. We'll probably make this a private video later on. So welcome if you're watching currently, and we'll probably make this we'll post this probably somewhere, maybe on our Patreon page or something like that, so you can check it out over there. All right, so we're done with plasticity. The line there was, your brain can rewire itself as it ages, adapting to changes and keeping things as functional as possible. So when we lose one of our senses like sight, our brain steps up and adjusts its circuits to make other senses stronger, especially if that sense is lost early in life and the brain is more malleable. All right, do we have to explain the word malleable? Malleable, changeable, malleable. Like easily influenced or pliable. We could let's put something in there, just that there's a nice little thing. So let's see which one it happens during.
So when you lose one sense like sight, our brain steps up and adjusts its circuits to make other senses stronger. It's especially if that sense is lost early in life. What this is for consider
I might do the same thing and put it on the next comp. So she says malleable right at the end of a clip that we cut. So I might just throw it in at the beginning of the next clip. So that'd be comp 15. Comp 15. I'm not too worried about her positioning right now unless it's totally necessary, just because we're going to go through and change it around eventually. So in this situation, we can actually copy from earlier. No, we'll have it come on the other side. Position and scale, position her over, scale her up, move her down, move it over. You know, she doesn't even have to be moved over necessarily. Boom, she's so close, look how close she is. Yeah, that's fine, that's good. Straight on, perfect. I don't want to mess with that. It's so yellow. Okay. But in the background, we're going to have malleable. Malleable equals I just want like one word that describes malleable, like changeable, adaptable. Pliable. People probably won't understand pliable either. Workable, soft. I'm going to say adaptable. I think that's the best one probably. Let's center this. Malleable. We'll put it behind her. Then you can't see it. Malleable. Malleable. Scale it down more. We can move her over slightly. Like that. And scale up malleable slightly. So we're going to do this. Boom. Bada bing, bada boom. Over, over, over. Do one of these. Boom. flies in. We're going to duplicate and duplicate. This one's going to go down. Oops. Saving. Saving is always important. All right. Do that. Evenly distribute. And the second one is going to become an equal sign. Is that equals? That's supposed to be equals? What the heck? Is there no equal sign in this? Well, alright. Let's change the to Arial. That'll probably do just fine. Right? Let's find out. Ugh. Not nearly as bold. Let's try boldening it. Emboldening. And we'll scale it up. And we'll move it down. Oh, come on. Now it's doing it. Okay. Alright, so malleable, malleable, malleable. This will be adaptable. Perfect. Now we separate them out slightly. Like so. Oh wait, no, we don't want it like that. Because this is the one. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. And turn on motion blur. Whee. Move her over because I still don't want it to be like the main focus. We might even scale these down slightly. 13%. We're going to move adaptable. Like so. And then we're going to select all of these, their positions. And we're going to do that. Boom, boom, boom. Kind of tedious stuff, but it's all for the good of making this turn out right. Excellent. Okay, now we're going to need that to fly back off as well. Boom. And go back off. Great. Bring this over. And same thing as before. One, two. Excellent. Okay. More or less done on that. Let's just clean up our edges. And we're good. All right. All right, folks. So I think that we are going to end up here for today. I think that we've done a good hour-long session for editing. It's getting a little bit darker outside and a little harder to see me. So, oh, and you haven't even been watching that because I've been on the wrong screen. I am so sorry about that. Well, those are the breaks. All right. So I'm going to finish up for today's editing session. Hopefully you enjoyed watching it. It was fun making it. And hopefully we can do this again. If you want to see something like this again in the future, please let me know in the comments. We will be posting this to our Patreon page, so feel free to go over and visit there. I will put a little edit in the card and you can go and check it out. But yeah, anyway, thanks for checking in and we'll talk later. All right, have a good one. Bye.